This is a 41 NBC AccuWeather Alert.
Good afternoon, Middle Georgia. Sorry to interrupt your programming on this Thursday afternoon. A tornado warning has just been issued. It's a bit of rotation. Northern Crisp County heading into Dooley County. This warning as of right now includes 3 of our counties, that being Dooley, Pulaski, and Wilcox. And this tornado warning is in effect until 3:15 p.m. This storm moving off to the north-northeast about 30 miles per hour right now. If you are in that zone or in one of those 3 counties, I would definitely suggest taking shelter. If you're in the warning zone, you need to be in your safe place right now. In terms of a safe place, where is that? Lowest level of your house. Interior most room, preferably no windows, and it would be a good idea to have something like a helmet with you, some pillows or blankets in the event of some flying debris to help protect you. But tracking this storm off to the northeast, we're tracking Hawkinsville potentially being impacted by about 3:34, and there's no confirmation as of right now that this is a tornado on the ground. We are just seeing some rotation being indicated on the radar, but I have been following this for some time, and this rotation has been pretty persistent with this storm. A look at it outside of the velocity mode, we are seeing pretty intense amounts of rainfall with this as well. We've got plenty of lightning. A lot of that's probably cloud to ground lightning. And so again, this is right now the rotation in Northern Crisp County. It is about to cross over into Dooley County. That is going to be the next area that is impacted by this line of storms. All right, Crisp County is reporting power lines and trees down. Do we have a location on that, or just somewhere in the county as of right now? All righty, cool. All right, so that's trees down with this. So that is suggesting at least some sort of damage coming out of this storm. So once again, Hawkinsville, one of our larger areas that's going to be in this path. Tippettville, you're going to be first up. We're talking about 15 minutes away or so before that arrives in that area. Once again, this is not in any of our Middle Georgia counties yet, but Dooley County will be the first one to experience it. This is going to stay to the east of I-75, so anybody traveling on the interstate's okay right now, although of course those wet conditions not ideal for traveling. Vienna, you're okay right now. Unadilla, you're probably going to be okay, but you're just outside of this warning zone. I would definitely be thinking about taking shelter in the event that this should end up going a little more north than say north-northeast, because right now we're projecting this on a north-northeast path, and again moving northward at about 30 miles per hour. But if it should shift a little more to the west, which these storms again kind of overall going to be doing a bit of a circle around from the south-southeast over towards northwest throughout the day, that's where that threat unfortunately does still exist. So Unadilla maybe not completely in the clear, but Vienna, based on where this circulation is right now, you should be okay. Now, if we look further north, there is not much else going on in the region right now, so that's some good news. And the rotation is not super intense, but it's also not super close to the radar yet. So we're still waiting to see just kind of how tight this ends up getting as it continues to head northward. The good news right now is we aren't seeing anything being indicated on our correlation coefficient. This is how we indicate debris balls associated with tornadic activity, but this is kind of far away from the radar, so we may not be seeing that low to the ground. As you get further away from the radar, the beam goes further up, and so we're seeing higher into the atmosphere. When it comes to things like tornadoes, you want to be able to see closer to the ground, as that's where the impacts are. So, you know, maybe a little bit of something suggestive right here that is overlaid with that bit of rotation that we are seeing, but nothing conclusive as of right now that's saying that, hey, this is guaranteed on the ground. But we've got damage reports out of Crisp County, and that rotation's been hanging on for a little while right now. So if you are, once again, in the eastern parts of Dooley County or the westerns, particularly the northwestern parts of Wilcox County, and then into the southwestern portions of Pulaski County, you need to be in your safe place right now. Have a weather radio with you so you know when those warnings expire. Stay with us. We will let you know when it is all clear. Water bottle, a good idea to try and stay hydrated. Of course, remain calm, gather your pets, anything like that to keep safe. But interior, lowest level room, preferably away from windows. A helmet, a great idea to protect your head, because the big danger with these things is flying debris that is just moving very, very fast, and it doesn't take a lot to do, unfortunately, be life-threatening. So that's unfortunately what we're dealing with here. Nothing suggesting 100% that this is on the ground right now, but I definitely have my concerns given that there's been damage reports. Anything else out of that, Cecilia, or is that all we've got so far right now?
So far that's it.
All right, so far all we've got is the power lines and trees down in terms of damage with this storm here. I do want to go ahead and put the tracker on it one more time with this rotation right here. So we can see exactly where that's going. Once again, 30-ish miles per hour is what we're indicating here with this, as it's now crossing in to Dooley County. And this tornado warning is in effect until 3:15 p.m. The same goes for the severe thunderstorm warning that was issued beforehand, which I was a little surprised it wasn't tagged with a tornado possible because that rotation was already being indicated on the radar. But yeah, Hawkinsville around 3:35 p.m. Tippettville not long after 3. That's the immediate impact, unfortunately, for us is going to be Tippettville. You need to be in your safe place right now. We're talking about 10 minutes from now that this is going to be over your area. And then Wallace, that's going to be around 3:20 to 3:25. That's, of course, all of these with the exception of Tippettville are currently outside of the warning zone because the warning expires at 3:15. So currently that is good that only one location really is being indicated inside of this. Going to try to get a quicker look. There you go. So there's Tippettville right there in Dooley County. Wallace just further north, just outside of that tornado warning zone right now. But it looks like it's within the severe thunderstorm warning zone. And that is, of course, as we indicated before, that was 3:23 p.m. And then Hawkinsville, that was a little further north. So that was around 3:30, 3:35. Hopefully by the time this storm gets a little further north, we do see this weekend, because it's not super impressive right now, but there's unfortunately been damage reports that have come out of this already, and it's still hanging on in terms of that rotation. So once again, there is that rotation. It's not very tight at all. If it was, the green would be brighter and the red would be brighter, and that would indicate that, yeah, there's a lot of wind going on there. So this is probably pretty weak, but anything tornadic is something that needs to be taken very, very seriously, which is why we need to be getting ready to take shelter as well. If we're talking rain with this storm, there's definitely a lot of that. Could even be some small hail in the core of it in these pink zones here. Plenty of lightning. A lot of ground-to-ground lightning in there as well. That's a bit of a concern. And that's why you want the weather radio. If the power should go out, you can still get your warnings and alerts that way while we still deal with this tornado warning here, which remains in effect until 3:15 p.m. This whole line of storms is moving north at like 30 miles per hour. We're going to try to etch that out here. So you kind of got this line here, and it's basically moving. I'm gonna have to zoom out. It's moving northward, northeastward. Cecilia, let's see what that update is here. Continuing the tornado warning, severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is located over Tremont or 7 miles southeast of Vienna. So once again, Vienna, you should be good. Unadilla, based on the current trajectory of this, be ready to take shelter, but you are outside of that warning zone, and we are seeing at least somewhat of an eastward trajectory. It's overall moving north, but it is a semi-eastward trajectory that is coming out of this storm. So now I've got a wider look at it here. I do want to try to draw the overall thing and just kind of see what we've got going on in terms of its direction and who may be impacted just by this overall mess. So it's going to be heading kind of northward like that, northeastward, and there you go. This looks like the times might be a little different than what the other thing was indicating, but this is for the whole mess of storms versus that one singular point in which we are following that rotation. And that point right now is just inside of the southeastern corner of Dooley County. And what they do with that tornado warning update was those in Crisp County are no longer in the warning. So now it's still including our 3 counties. They did shrink in on this eastern side. This was a little wider into Wilcox County before. So now most of Wilcox Wilcox County is looking better. But we do still have this southwestern portion of Pulaski County here and much of eastern Dooley County that still are in the zone of this tornado warning that's in effect until 3:15 p.m. So going to draw out our little cone again, get some times. Tippettville, once again, right after 3 p.m. That is the one location, 100%, that is in this warning zone. You need to be in your safe place right now. A helmet, blanket, and a water bottle away, and of course, a weather radio. So in the event of a power outage, we've definitely seen our fair share of those lately with a lot of the stormy weather that we've had. That way you still can receive those alerts. This tornado warning was issued about 10 minutes ago, not even, 2:47, 2:48 p.m. Been following this storm since a little before that when there was some rotation on it, not long after 2:15, 2:20 p.m. But it's finally gotten close up to the radar that the National Weather Service pulled the trigger on it because there's a little more certainty. That is what we are seeing now. What I'm hoping is that because this rotation doesn't look super impressive right now, is that we will end up seeing the warning expire when 3:15 comes around. More than likely, the current warning not going to get canceled while we're still dealing with this bit of rotation that's heading northeastward. But if we see this weaken a little bit more, locations such as Wallace that are just outside of this zone, or Hawkinsville, maybe we could ease up a little bit. But if not, then of course that warning will continue to extend off to the northeast. This is the first storm that we're watching right now in terms of overall activity today. Unfortunately, this might just be the beginning. Look at this. We've got another severe thunderstorm warning off to the southeast over here. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek at this to see when it expires and if there's any rotation going on with it as well. First off, that severe thunderstorm warning in effect till 3:15 p.m. None of these counties, this is just in effect for Coffee County in our region, but notice that that's also not very far south of Telfair County, which is in our region. So when we translate this over to velocity to see if there's rotation on it, it looks like there's a little bit. That lightning's kind of getting in the way just a bit there, but a little bit of rotation on it. This is definitely not as convincing as what we are seeing over here in Dooley County. Once again, it's the southeastern corner right now, and that looks better than it did before, as in weaker rotation, not improved rotation. It looked better rotation-wise just a few minutes back. If I go ahead and drag this back, you start seeing just how intense that green really is there. You see how it gets a little bit tighter as this is now starting to move right across there, Highway 280, and then it crosses 280 and then got up towards Dooley County, and at that point we start seeing it fall apart a little bit. So still is rotation on it, but it's definitely promising that we're seeing that rotation lighten up a little bit. Switching over to the correlation coefficient, we are seeing something